promises of God. See, because now that you have the word, you got to stand on the promises. Because there's more to just standing on Jesus alone. You have to know what Jesus promised you now. Because after you got dressed in your gospel of peace, now you got to carry something with you. You got to know that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, and every tongue that rise up in judgment. I wish I had an excited church tonight. You had to understand that in all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, meaning that my good days outweigh my bad days, and I still won't complain. Meaning that every now and then temptation comes along, but I still won't complain. Meaning that every time I look a little sick in my body, every time I look down in the flesh, every time I get a little worried about a situation, I remember something. He says, carry the gospel of peace. Watch me. Because he knew that the gospel of peace, there was something about it. Because he knew that even though you were struggling, the gospel of peace would come and lift your burden. Tell your neighbor, carry that gospel. Carry the gospel. So now ask your neighbor, are you still standing? Because I want you to get this, because there are something in here. Now watch me. He says now, and having done all to stand. After you've done everything you could, you have nothing left to do. Your bank account is zeroed out. Your family wants nothing else to do with you. Your friends don't want to answer your phone calls. Your lovers don't want to love on you no more. So now he tells you, after you've done all, you can that because there is something about standing that gets the enemy mad.
Right. That's right.
Brother Kirk, help me really quick. Help me. Put your chair in front of me for a second. I want you to get the understanding of this. If I'm sitting in my seat, just go sit down, Brother Kirk. I am face to face with my test. Because if I am sitting, I can't really move that much because whatever on my back holds me down. So now the enemy has the upper hand. Because while you're sitting, he's standing. Watch me. And when you're sitting down, he can get above you. So what happens now is even in my low point, I can't sit down for too long.
That's it.
Because when I'm sitting down, I can't really give God a praise. I can't really get into the mood for God because I'm sitting down. I'm resting and my body feels comfortable. But when I stand up, I am above my listen. So now I'm no longer looking face to face with my affliction, but I'm looking above to see what comes after. Y'all gonna miss it. I'm done, Brother King. So now after you're face to face with your test, now you're looking above it. You can see the promise that God promised you at the end of it all. Because even though it seems like they're going to take my house and my car and my money, if I look above that, I see that God said I'll supply all your needs. Even though it seems like my children ain't never going to get saved, I look above that situation and say, oh, I see them in the church. I see deacons and bishops and pastors in my children. Because see, we're missing how to speak to the enemy. I'm going to preach, y'all give me a minute. So, Romans said, if God before us, the same writer now, Paul is writing this too. He says, if God before us, first he says, what then shall we say to these things? What then shall I say to all my trials and tribulation? What then shall I say to the people who plot against me? What then shall I say to all these things? What then shall I say to my low bank account? What then shall I say to my children not acting right? What then shall I say to these things? Touch your name and say these things. I'm ready to go home now, Miss. I'm ready to go. So now he says, now what then shall we say to these things? And he gets to the understanding that if God is really before me, me? Who can be against me? That means not even my family can come up against me. Not even my brothers and my sisters, not my friends or nobody else. Because God is for me. When Joseph had his dreams one day, Joseph dreamed great dreams. And his dreams was that his brothers would bow down to him. But the promises were that I'll make you a greater man in me. Every now and then we get to the place where we're no longer standing on revelation, but our own natural desires. We're no longer standing on the word, but we're standing on our own truth. And I come to tell somebody that after you've done all you can, you gotta learn how to stand. After you've suffered a while, then you shall reign. Fear not in well-doing. You shall reap and you think not. Can I preach here for a while? So he tells them, if God is for us, who can be against us? In Joseph's dream, his brothers started to kill him. You know how your haters fight to take you out. How they ain't trying to see you succeed. They want to see you get nowhere. So they tried to take you out. And then they said, then we'll see what becomes of this man. What becomes of this dream. Slap your neighbor hot side and say, neighbor, I'm standing on a promise. And I'm standing on a sure foundation. I'm standing on the promises of God. And his promises are yea and amen. Meaning that whatever I ask in his name, that will he do. So now I come that you may have life